Hello my friends, I am GHondo, and welcome back to Judgment. We are picking up right where we left off last episode, having just returned from a rescue mission where we went and rescued our new friend here, Andrew. Apologies if anyone has put in a comment requesting a name change. I recorded this episode immediately after Saturday's episode, so I have not actually seen that comment yet. If you have put a comment in there for that, it will show up in the next episode. Right. Let's get rolling. So to move on in the story mission, we need to be scavenging a nearby location, which we can absolutely do. So why don't we actually go ahead and take a look around what's near us in terms of relatively easy ones. Like that seems like a pretty easy one, just 2 imps. Get some scrap for it. And I'm going to add Andrew in. Our little task group here is a little bit stronger. Come on, thank you. And let's go scavenge. Okay, so on a scavenge mission, again, you'll see there's X's and exclamation marks on the map. The difference is you can either do the scavenging part by opening the containers, or you can just kill all the enemies, and that finishes the map for you. It's almost always quicker to just kill all the enemies, because while there are enemies anywhere on the map, the actual scavenging slows to an absolute crawl, so I always just try and kill the enemies and don't even bother trying to scavenge directly, because once the enemies are gone, you get everything off the map instantly anyway. So there's our first enemy, is one little imp. So we will smash his face in with our clubs. Awesome. And there should be one more floating around somewhere. They just wander the map, so that's kind of all we do too, is wander the map until we see them. Does not look like he's on this side. Oh, you may notice these little half shield things showing up once in a while whenever we're near them. That means cover. Not such a big deal in melee. It does help a little bit, but it's mostly for dealing with ranged attacks. These little imps don't have ranged attacks, so we don't really have to worry about it yet. But later on, there are definitely plenty of demons that do have ranged attacks. So. Screen goes black, that means we won. So now we'll get the sulfur for the imps and 40 scrap. Very nice. And we'll head on back. And next it wants us to build an occult library and start doing some occult research. We can do that. Not a problem. To do that though, we're going to need another little cabin because we don't have much room left in that one. We'll put it down here somewhere. That might do. Nope, we are nowhere near the point of doing it. We need a lot more wood. Okay, fair enough. Is anyone actually working on wood at the moment? Not that I can see. Oh, you're working on rocks. Nobody's working on wood. Well, we're going to have to fix that. Guess like that for now. Speed the clock up. So there's not much else happening until we get all that wood chopped down, so. We could build a smaller cabin, but all it means is there's even less room to put stuff in. And you have to leave at least some space because people can't use... Like, for example, if I had placed this table here, they couldn't do anything with that if these were in use, because they can't occupy the same space. So if somebody were sleeping and somebody was at the food table, you couldn't do research. And vice versa, if somebody was there researching, nobody would be allowed to sleep. So, needless to say, that wouldn't go well. So instead, Instead, we build the bigger one so we have some space. Let's just plunk that right about there, I guess. That'll do. Okay. And it wanted an occult table or library. Okay, so that needs boards. It also needs clay. We have clay on our map, we just haven't got any of it yet. But it needs boards. Now we have two ways of getting boards. Either we can come in here and do some research to learn woodworking and build a sawmill, or we can go out and see if any scavengeable locations happen to have any. And there's one there that does. I don't think we can take all this though. So that doesn't sound like a good way to get boards right now. So I think instead, we're just going to actually do some research and learn how to make boards ourselves. That seems like a much better plan to me. And that means we need a researcher. Where was our good researcher? That was you. We will let her research until we have 30. We also unlock some other neat stuff. Quarterstaffs are a much better melee weapon. Far better than clubs, which is nice. Oops, we have a level up. Somebody gained a level from doing stuff that they like to do. And that was Liz. So let's take a quick look here. There's 5 levels for them to gain, and it's not so obvious on a survivalist because they have full choice, but some of the other classes you'll notice there's gaps because there are only 2 skills to choose from for certain levels, because what the available stats are kind of fixed. So, for example, I've never seen fast healing be available ever again if you don't take it out the first one. But it isn't really that useful because all it does is it lets you heal a little bit faster while you're at base. So it's not really that critical. Generally, I find it always better just to pick up something that makes them work better like all the time, right? So, I have Liz doing most of the time? Farming and water. So, really either of these would be good, because that one helps with farming, that one helps with water. Water's one we deal with a lot more often, so I'll take the water one. There, she's now much better at gathering. However, Ross is currently doing it, so why is Ross doing it? There is nothing to build, no rituals to do. Oops. We have somebody else calling for help. Can't just imps, although there's more of them. We'll be okay, I think. This will give you an opportunity to pick. Oops. And we got jumped on the way. That's not cool. These encounters tend to be really easy, usually just a little imp or two, but they start right on top of you, so it can be scary, especially if you're on your way back from a mission, you got beat up pretty bad, all of a sudden get jumped. In this case, it'll be fine. We're on our way to the mission, we're all full health, it's no big deal. But that can get scary at some times. Alright, let's speed up. Okay, let's go. Let's check up here. Whoa. 3 of them together, that's a little unfortunate. It's always better if you can to face them singularly. Or fairly obvious reasons. And there's the cage. Doesn't really matter who does it, so you go free them. The other two can guard. Okay, something has spawned somewhere. Let's see if we can find it. There, I just saw something move here. Okay, so far so good. There we go. Buffy, fighter. With Slayer. Oh, isn't that cute? I've never had someone named Buffy, and I've never had the Slayer stat. I wonder if that's actually deliberate. Maybe this is like a hidden character or something. Either way, that is an absolutely awesome set. Obviously, this character will never do research, farming, or building, but will be an absolutely awesome fighter. Very cool. Very cool. Alright, let's get her out of here. Do. Okay, come on, let's go. Speed it up. Yep, they can start their way back, and in the meantime, get Buffy working here. Yeah, you're terrible at all this stuff. I'm not even going to bother asking you to do it. Fighters only like patrolling and training. I don't have a training yard yet, and I have not got any towers to patrol. So I'll put them there, but she's not actually going to get to do that anytime soon. She apparently will like rituals. Again, I don't have any circles to do any of that stuff yet. That's later. So I guess for now, she can chop trees, I guess. Run out of that. You can do some of that other stuff too. Great. I could build her a club, but I'm about to learn woodworking and thus be able to make her a quarterstaff, so I will skip in between step of making her a club. Oops, it was 30. We already passed it. Excellent. So now we can build a sawmill. Doesn't terribly matter where we put it. I guess we'll plunk it right there, I guess. And since we're then going to be able to craft boards, I'm actually going to go into the priorities screen and set some auto crafting on them. I'd like to always have at least a decent stash of boards on hand. Doesn't have to be a huge amount, but enough to be able to build a building. And while I'm in here, I'm also going to update all the food, even stuff that we can't make yet. Like right now, we can only do the basic vegetable salads, the basic foods. But I'm going to set all the other ones up. Whoa, not 3,000. That's a little ridiculous. That way, once I get the ability to make them, I don't have to remember to come in and do it again. So, just a quick little bit of admin. Take long. Boards, same will be for bricks. We don't have brick making yet, but we'll get it set up. First aid is another one I'd like to have at least a couple of. Again, we don't know how to do it yet, but it's for later. And we may do more other things afterwards, but for now that will do. Because those are the stuff I know for sure how many I want, so. Okay. Go ahead and get that sawmill created. It's a very slow building to build. Actually, Actually, pretty much all the buildings are except for the basic cabins. Which, if you think about it, it's kind of weird, because a cabin should take way longer to build. Oops, somebody gained a level. Andrew gained a level. Okay, he is our crafter and a fighter. Well, there's nothing for the fighting side, nor is there anything for the crafting side. Well, I apparently have him set mostly to quarrying, so that tells me I might as well just make him a miner and be done with it. So, there you go. Be better at mining. Well done, sir. Just gained. Our first guy, Ross. Excellent. You are a builder, but as a priest, you're not interested in actually doing that, so it's either farming or researching. I don't think... yeah, you're not our research person. That was... August, I think. So, instead of giving you research, we're just going to give you farming and bump that up on your list of chores. Oh, it's already quite high. Never mind. You're already doing that quite often. Okay, sounds good. Okay, sawmill's up, so now we're creating boards. Very nice. Which means we'll soon be able to build the occult library. We just need clay. So somebody needs to... oops. A closer one? Oh yeah, there's some close stuff there. Anything closer than that? Probably not. So I'm going to steal somebody to go dig us some clay. I just want to see who is doing quarrying. Maybe that's the easiest way. Who is set to do that? Looks like Andrew. Alright, Mr. Andrew, why don't you wander up here, start bringing me some clay. Fantastic. Enough research, we should be able to do something. Okay, so we have a few options. We can learn how to make the furnace, which in turn lets us make bricks. Scavenging, which basically just gives you a chance of gaining extra stuff when you're out scavenging, which is just a passive reward, but it is pretty good. We could learn how to make slightly better bows, although currently we have nobody using bows, so it doesn't really matter. Or we could learn how to make basic armor, which probably is a good idea. Or we can learn how to make the next farm and the next bit of food. Let's start with both of these, because we actually had enough to do both. So, right off the bat, we're going to say craft. And we need 5 of these, so we need a lot more scraps and a workbench. Okay, so we have a lot of stuff we need to build. We're going to want a couple of wheat farms, and a stove, and a workbench. Well, the workbench we can do. So let's get that going. Go ahead and keep chipping away at the clay for a while. That'll be fine. Okay, so that lets us at least consider building these, except it needs scraps, which I don't have. To get scraps, we either need to start clearing these rubble, or we go and scavenge for them. We'll probably end up just scavenging for them locally, because we are bumping up to time control, so we don't really have time to pick up anymore. So we're going to call that an episode there. So thank you to everyone for watching, and until next time, folks, stay calm, and I hope you come and chill with me again in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye now.